Okay. I guess we can start. At the beginning, I have to say, Bas made a perfect introduction to our presentation because we will be talking about product backlog. So, hello everyone. I hope you're feeling well today and full of energy. To start this topic, I'd like to ask you a question. Who of you gathered here believes that a great product team is the one that has clear autonomy, is self-sufficient, and can decide how and which direction to grow its product? And on top of that, has a strong product owner? And what if I tell you that autonomous teams can actually get in the way of delivering value? Today, we'd like to share with you our story, how we managed to make our time to market 5 times faster, reduce costs of cross-team coordination by limiting autonomy, in favor of understanding and implementing one common vision. And more importantly, how we've changed, and we are still changing, our entire way of working from task-focused to impact-driven. My name is Maciej Sochan. I'm the Product Value and Operations Lead in G2A.com, and today with me is Chris.
Yeah, hi, I'm Chris, or Krzysztof, and my official title in company is Transformation Manager. I'm basically less like Scrum Master. To give you some context, I would like to say a few words. What is our product? G2A.com is a global marketplace focused on digital entertainment. It was started in Poland as a retailer in 2010, and in 2014 it became marketplace. Today we have hundreds of millions of websites visits every year, hundreds of thousands of active offers, tens of millions of customers around the world. G2A.com operates globally in 180 countries, offering all digital range of products with hundreds of payment methods. We've created a platform where buyers connect with sellers for seamless transactions. And our mission is open the gate to adventure in digital world and democratize digital entertainment by making it accessible for everyone. And that's our product. Has anyone tried G2A maybe?
Anyone knows?
Yeah, one person, good. I will ask later on what was the feelings.
Gather feedback. So now let's dive a bit into our story. Imagine an organization with more than 150 people working just on product development and more than 17 autonomous teams. That means more than 17 separate backlogs, brilliant specialists, autonomy, skills, energy, everything sounds perfect, right? But the product is drowning in dependencies, and customers are waiting. Add to that creative stakeholders, a demanding market, a competitor's pressure, compliance requirements, and a strategy we need to follow and execute. It was 2024, and this was our reality.
Just step back to the previous slide. Every single brick of this represents one team. So you could look at this like quite narrow product definition or domain. So teams were organized, when I joined the company in January this year, the teams were organized into those smaller domains, autonomous smaller domains, like pricing, catalog, basket, or these things. It's quite common scenario, I think, on the product market.
For some reason, leaders, instead of having a whole product view, they try to split it, divide it into more manageable pieces. It's not like very technical thing. It's still like visible from the customer point of view, but kind of like narrow product definition. So we had 17 of those little domains. Every single domain had its own team. So that's why, as a consequence, there was 17 domains, so-called products, 17 so-called product owners, 17 so-called product backlogs. In less nomenclature, actually, we shouldn't call those things products, but more like those are more like elements of the whole. So in less nomenclature, it means components. So actually, component owners, component backlogs. So we would like to focus on prioritization. So what was the flow of items in this kind of a setup? So that's the example, only 4 teams: orange team, gray, blue, and purple team. So they are single specialized. So orange team, they are very good at orange items, for example, yeah? So even if we had one product, or so-called one list, so imagine the CEO of the company herself, he did a very tough work of prioritization. So she comes and says, dear product people, please, those are the priorities. Please go from F1, feature 1, and then if F1 is done, switch to F2, and those are like, this is the order of work, global priorities. And we said, okay, let's do it. So what would you give to the orange team from this list of items? What kind of a work you think we should give to the orange team? That's 2 seconds after the CEO said, please start with F1, what would you start with? F2. Yeah, I mean, that was the reality, yeah? Because we were, we wanted to, we was forced actually to prioritize around based on the technical skills and availability of people. But most likely, because F1 is most important, the orange team most likely will pull a piece, their own part, orange part, from the most important item, F1. But they say, okay, we still have like another week of the sprint. They may believe they work in sprints. So we still have time. So should we give them something else to do, or like, you people relax, wait? No, they are not allowed to do nothing, of course. So they say, we could start with something else, but because we are so good at orange items, then most likely they will pull next orange item. So if they look at, if you ask the orange product owner what are the top priorities, she will probably has some kind of a local backlog, component backlog, and she will see only orange items, yeah, on the local backlog. Same scenario for the second team. CT2 means component team 2. What kind of items can you take? This one. We can pull something else. Should we pull or should we relax? Yeah, probably. But that's the next item, the most, the second most important item on our local backlog. Same for the blue one, same for the purple one. Now, 10 seconds earlier, the CEO said, please, I made a big effort of prioritization. All the business units, we gathered all together and we made this decision that F1 is the most important, F2 is second, and so on. But like 10 seconds after, you people started F7. Why? It's because, well, this is what we could. So we actually, in this setup, we were starting things that we could, not what was the most crucial and important. How many items did we deliver after the first sprint? Nothing. How is our knowledge and data about the product? None. Yeah. And then they say, like, Chris, you're so dogmatic. We don't finish after the first sprint. We have another and another sprint, so what's the point? Okay, so let's do the planning for the next sprint. Okay, so they most likely will take this, then great team will pull this item, but they have some kind of a problem, because they say, like, if we will take number 3, we will need 2 sprints. It's not that long period, right? And it doesn't make sense to split it, because anyway, now no one can really build this, and it must be built as entire part of the component, otherwise there will be no possibility to integrate it. So most likely they will pull the whole thing, which means teams in this setup started to make some kind of a longer plans ahead as a consequence of this setup. Same blue team. If we will take number 4, it will take 1.5 sprint. Same for this. Now, if you look at the priorities, everything is important, everything is in progress, so WIP is really high, everything goes very long, and how many items did we deliver after the second sprint? It looks like 2, but in reality, none, 0. It's because when orange team, they finished their own part of the feature 1, they said, oh yeah, it's finished, let's integrate it. But
then it burns.
But it's not finished by other component teams, so it's nothing to integrate with. So now they say, like, okay, if we put it on the production, it's not going to work. So what should we do with this piece of the code now? Any clues? Put it on the branch, to the fridge. Yeah? And then they did the same thing, so they were waiting for blue team. And when the blue team finished their own part of the F1, they say, like, finally, people, we can integrate. But what do they hear from other teams? We do something else. I mean, we don't care, you can escalate to the product owner so they can decide. So the product owners say, like, okay, how much time do you need other teams to finish what you are started? It doesn't make sense to go, like, remove the existing code of the items that are in progress. So most likely product owners will say, like, okay, so please finish. So they will be finishing. So now from this moment, the blue teams say, okay, so should we wait for the others in order to integrate at sprint 3? We're not paying for waiting. Please start with number 4. And then everyone is busy. Nothing is produced. Nothing customer-oriented. Yeah. So that was the prioritization based on narrow specialized teams.
Yeah. So we thought we were a product company. We had autonomous product teams, product owners, scrum masters, backlogs, roadmaps, right? Until we realized that we have only one common product. So in reality, our teams were component teams, each focused on a slice of a puzzle, one on search, another one on cart, another one on product page, and so on. That meant many different work queues, local priorities based on technical capability, constant project management between the teams. Every time we wanted to launch something big, it broke into pieces and landed on separate backlogs with different timelines. We work hard to make it work, to get teams to collaborate, investing heavily in quarterly planning and initiative synchronization. Yes, this is Excel. We use that. We routinely reviewed our roadmaps and to catch and bundle dependencies. Unfortunately, after a few quarters, we were still unable to manage all of dependencies and synchronize priorities. So teams consistently diverge from our initial strategy. The priorities of our product teams were misaligned, even when working on the same initiative.
This meant we were simultaneously delivering top projects alongside items that were at the bottom of our product backlog. It was extremely difficult to deliver any complex initiative requiring multiple teams within the planned time frame. The result, the stakeholders had one simple question: why is this taking so long?
Wait a sec with the slides. That is the result of planning ahead. All those spreadsheets and cards are separate cards for separate component teams, so for 17 different cards and plans and coordination. That was easy picture I showed you, because if you add to this story I just told things like reality, so things like dependencies, not being able to start with another item, so very often people started pulling something from the even lower.
Yeah, in reality, there were teams that were working just on the lower priority. Imagine satisfaction from delivered work.
Yeah, and well, a couple of times when some idea, some new opportunity emerged, and we wanted teams to switch direction. So imagine the overhead and pain we had to go through to change all those Excels and plans of all the component owners. They were quite pissed off. They did the work, and now we are changing everything. So adaptability on organizational level was really low, painful. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, so in 2024, we came into the point that we told ourselves we had to change this. For us, that meant giving up team autonomy in exchange for a single source of truth and one shared goal.
Yeah. So, yeah, in April this year, the beginning of April, we went through the self-designing teams workshop. We work remotely, but for the purpose of this meeting, do you know what is the self-designing teams workshop? Yeah, most of you. So we gathered all together, like 70 people in one room. We work remotely, but for the purpose of this meeting, we ask everybody, even people from Spain or other countries, to meet us in Rzeszów, Poland. And we basically set some boundaries around which people self-organize into new teams. They were trained, so before the event, we spent a few months on the education, so they were aware what is it, what kind of a teams we would like to have. We wanted to have multi-learning, multi-skilled, cross-functional, cross-component teams. So to have the dynamics that when one team pulls colorful item from the top of the backlog, they do all the tasks and activities by themselves, or one or with two, maybe with three teams all together in case of bigger items. So to show you how it looks like, so that was the team formation moment. One card, people discussing. They basically try to find new colleagues and form new teams. It's not that visible. Look at this girl in pink. Now she decided to leave this team. I'm sorry, I'm going somewhere else. And then she ran to find better team. Yeah.
But one important thing that for the time of this activity, self-organizing teams, all managers were in the separate room. So there was no influence, direct or indirect influence on the decision in which team any new member will go. So that was very important for us to organize such an event in such a way. So everyone was really deciding about his or her own future.
Yeah, there were some funny moments. We don't want to go into very details of the self-designing teams workshop, but for example, we wanted teams to pick their own managers. So the managers had to introduce themselves, and it was nice dynamics. People were like, okay, what do you offer? And then, why should I work for you? And then, so that was like casting for manager. And also, for this formation, we asked everybody who will not be a team members to leave the room, not to influence anyone by anyone. So that was only future team members. Question? few. I will find you later on because the answer is a bit longer. To that. I will also find you later.
We cannot dive into details too much.
Let's pretend there was no questions, and then okay. So out of the 17 component teams, teams self-organized into 7 feature teams, so-called feature teams, multi-learning, cross-component, cross-functional teams, and we decided to leave 4 component teams as they were. It's because, first of all, quite specific technology, quite risky components like payments and money protection. So we were afraid of allowing everybody to do changes everywhere. So we said okay, those components, those 4 components, they don't create that much dependencies. So we say, let's leave it as it is. And then out from everything else, so 13 teams, component teams, they organize themselves into 7 feature teams.
What's the size of the new teams?
A size of a feature team?
And the feature teams and the 4 component teams? Because there are way less teams in the new situation than the old.
I think component teams are quite
but
bigger.
we had teams of 2 people, so just joined the teams, and our new teams are around 8 to 10 people.
It was very difficult.
Yeah, it was very. That's diving into details.
Yeah. Okay, so those 7 teams, they still work with one product backlog, one product owner, and so we had the discussion whether we should do the less huge, so areas, but it was then if we decided to have areas, then it meant to start 2 areas at once. That was quite difficult, so we decided, are we starting the first smaller area, or are we doing this all at once?
To be honest, we wanted to avoid getting into less huge at our very beginning. So we decided to start with one area.
But
everyone are working on the same backlog.
But so at the end, the product is the marketplace, so very broad, the whole company. And we took all the teams, so 7 feature teams and 4 component teams. It was 8 feature teams, but we dissolved one, I think. Anyway, 11 teams now, they work in one rhythm, so they plan together and they finish together. So there is no other rhythm, other sprints. It's just one sprint for everybody. Okay. Any more comments to that?
No.
Okay. So how the prioritization work in this setup? So we still have this same scenario, so priorities made by the CEO, now the product owner now. Instead of those component teams, so one-color teams, now we have multicolored, so multi-learning, multi-competent, cross-component, cross-functional, one product owner. And now, how does it work? So if one team, if F1 is the highest priority, and team number 1 feels like probably we won't be able to finish the whole thing in one sprint, or we need help, it's very easy now to ask other team, can we do it in multi-team planning and work all together in one sprint? So it's much easier to share this work between 2 teams. Other teams, they work like this, so they try to find ways to make the work more parallel. So it's much easier, at least, to experiment with this scenario. Some teams, when they say, we can't do it in one sprint, even if we do it with 3 teams, so it's much easier now to split it into some meaningful changes. So at least something we can learn from will be done. And then another part will be, of course, for the prioritization, should we continue this next sprint or not. So now, if you look at what is being processed, so there are those items that were considered highest priority processed, and also every team did and has something done in one sprint. So having 7 teams and teams that are able to finish something, then we really noticed a big improvement in finishing things and also in reduction of cycle time, which you will see in a moment. And for example, Sigma didn't manage to deliver this one. So they say, oh, still need 2 days on another sprint. Was prioritized by the product owner. Okay, so please continue that. But new item has emerged. Who can do it now? Whoever, who's available. They may say like, now Nova and Nameless, we can do it all together. And so there is no really restructuring or not much of the discussion about how to do it. So all the teams, they are in habit to pulling the work from the top of the backlog. So no changes, which means switching into something that emerged or switching to something else is very costless, or very, very easy for this group.
Yeah, so now when we have one backlog for your product, a magic happens. For the first time, we could say this is the most important thing, and everyone would start working on it. And if anything new arrived, just like Chris showed us, it was finally easy to put it on top of the backlog. And again, we would start working on it if it was that important. By that, we'd achieved clear priorities for all our teams, and priorities based on maximum value, not restrained by what the team can actually do right now. Larger initiatives are split into pieces and distributed among the teams, so they could deliver in fewer cycles, making it in parallel. If something needed more people, multi-team feature squads took that and just started working on that. And everyone in the same delivery rhythm.
Yeah, sorry, about the reduction of the,
So after we restructured our product development department and changed the way we work, breaking down silos and collaborating to focus on maximum value, we reduced not only coordination costs, but we also shortened our delivery times and cut our time to market. After just 1 quarter, we cut average delivery time on initiatives by up to 80%. That's 5 times faster than before. This would not be possible if we had not changed the way we work and the structure of our organization.
Let me say it once again. Average time for customer-oriented, meaningful, quite significant change used to take 7 months. But just after the flip, so we didn't add any skills. New teams, they still have some gaps, competency gaps. That's why they multi-learn, they collaborate, they travel across teams in order to acquire new skills. So we didn't really add anything, new skills, no magic. And just right after the flip, we reduced this time to market from 7 months to 40 days, just like that, 5 times shorter.
Well, it wasn't that easy, but yeah.
Well, 3 days, self-organized.
We didn't get any new people to our department, so basically the same people, the same specialists, yeah? Just reorganized the way we work. But so we shifted from managing hundreds of tasks, improvements, and small items into a small number of high-value company-wide initiatives, but we didn't stop there. And we realized that even perfect delivery planning is useless when we are solving the wrong problems. So we introduced a continuous product discovery centered around user research and data analysis, a discovery rhythm that runs in parallel to our delivery sprints, and shared use of opportunity solution tree.
Now we are starting to work with that, and we just want to work not only on the most valuable, most important initiatives, but on what has the biggest influence on our user behavior.
So,
Yeah? Sure.
so we learned how to work on the highest prioritized outputs, features. And when we looked at like how well this works, then we said like, okay, now let's even boost the value recognition and delivery by solving problems, customer-oriented problems. And we decided to experiment with this opportunity solution tree made by Teresa Torres. So we basically set a goal. It's a business goal for the product unit, so product goals, some people say. And we discuss what kind of a behavior we would like to see. And if we see this behavior, if we create this user's behavior, it will have a biggest impact on the goal. Goals are like, I don't know, increase the conversion rate or increase the average order value, so more items in the basket and so things. But outcome could be like, instead of having the current scenario where user comes to the marketplace, buys just one item and leaves, we would like to see different behavior, like user naturally explore different options, maybe bundles, maybe multi-items, spend more time on some product pages, discovering possibilities to have just a better price. So buy more with better price. And then, so we set this kind of an outcome, which is the change in user behavior, and then we ask, okay, why the behavior does not happen? What's the problem? And then we do the research with users, with data, and so on, and then we actually discover problems. Nice name is opportunity, but this is problems, customer-oriented problems. What's going on, what's wrong? And then we decide which kind of a problem we think we should solve first, then probably the behavior will change and the business results will be better. So then, if we decide what kind of a problem we would like to solve, the opportunity, we go immediately to teams for the product backlog refinement to come up all together in mixed groups with the best possible solutions and what kind of experiments we can run. And then we learn. 3, 2, 1. How the prioritization works in this setup? Still very like it was before. So one product owner, one product backlog, and feature teams they pull from the top. But we decided to experiment with, we call it those group focus groups. So it's actually business people, business experts. So that was the problem. We were wondering, how can we connect different people with very skillful, knowledgeable people, mostly from different business units like marketing, commercial, to work with us, to have those people very close working with teams. And we decided to experiment. We don't know if it's good advice or not yet. We started, and we have some results, so we will continue with this for probably next quarter at least. Those focus groups are organized around one very significant business goal, like average order value, conversion, and frequency. And we invited all the most important knowledgeable people from business, data scientists and researcher. So they do the first kind of like research and look at the data, and they look for signals and opportunities. As soon as they found something useful, so they don't talk about the solution. So they only, do the research. And then if they find something useful, they immediately bring it to the product backlog refinement for teams to discuss the context. They provide the context, business context, and why they believe this is most important. most promising problem to be solved, then teams all together, they come up, they create possible solutions. So they actually support the product. They don't decide on priority. They just support with data and ideas and insights. Still, the product owner is the one who prioritizes those opportunities now, not features. And they join teams as soon as it's possible to provide knowledge, context, and that's it. Yeah. We could try to put those people into the teams, which may happen in the future. We don't know. So how the product backlog looks like now, it's not flat list anymore. I mean, at some point, finally, there is some order, but this is more like collaboration space. A lot of information around data, graphs, insights, ideas. It's more like this. Okay.
Yeah, so we successfully moved from painful task management within isolated within isolated specialized teams, previously focused on long-term planning, implementing only what each team could manage, which required high energy and coordination. Now we are centered around what's truly valuable for the organization and with minimal cross-team coordination and adaptive planning. What's next? We are working on and building the way of working where we select initiatives for which we are sure we solve the most important user problems and target topics that create the greatest impact on user behavior. Summarizing, when we started our product development journey a few years ago, we believed that autonomy is the foundation of a good product team. But autonomy without shared priorities is just a chaos in a shiny package. And what we've learned is that structure drives results. If you want different results, you have to change the system, not the people. That we need collaboration over silos. This isn't just an idealistic slogan. It's a survival in today's fast-moving market. And the value is where the user sees it, not where the technical obstacles are the smallest. And we want to leave you with just one question. A question that actually popped into our heads before we started this transformation. How many backlogs exist in your organization? And what would happen if, starting from tomorrow, there was only one? The answer to that question could change not only your time to market, but also the way your people understand the purpose of their work. Thank you.
That would be all.
If you
Short answer.
I don't know if you have some time for question.
Quick answer to your question.
For sure.
I just.
I'm also wondering what your roadmap is going to look like, because the talk of... Could you...
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
It's easy to answer. We don't have any.
As far as we have some time, so yeah.
And did we do with the existing component owners? There were too many. Some of them decided to move, let go. But we also didn't want to lose this knowledge in those people, especially very skillful people. Then they joined those focus groups. So they now are business experts. So they don't have any particular team. Their job is to keep digging where the gold is, convince the product owner, and then, so the product owner demands, your job is to find something useful. If not, then why you're working here? It's like kind of like, they try to convince those 2-3 groups what are the biggest, most promising problems to be solved. So this is the main job of those people. And then they try to join as soon as possible to teams. And then they work for some period with teams, and then they leave. So the dynamic is still the same like in less. So the teams, they pull work from the top of the backlog, and they pull expert with the work into the team. So.
I was wondering what role the company culture played in this whole transformation. Can you tell anything about that one?
I think that was a huge element that made the whole change much easier. I think, in my point of view, I'm quite relatively new. I joined in January this year, but I noticed they went through many different changes over time. So people were used to their first reaction on the idea of change was like, just another mess is coming. Yes, like they've been there so many times. So that's why we decided finally to don't rush the change. So it was quite fast because the time for preparation was only 3 months. But during this period, we were educating everyone as much as we could. A lot of training, a lot of discussion about the principles, not framework, a lot of those ask me anything sessions. So there was a lot of this thing. And then at some point, I heard a beautiful sentence comment from developers. They came to me and said, you know, Chris, what is the biggest fear now? Our biggest fear now is that the management, they will not allow us to do it. So it's like, yes, they want to do it. So it's like, very good. And because the management is my colleague, so it's like, hey, Maciej.
We also wanted to do it. So.
You're an obstacle. Can you move? And you know, the leaders, we were a group of 5, yeah. And then we decided like there will be no problem in the management group because they wanted to solve this real business problems. So then we just created the conditions, we did the education, and then the change went like
maybe I will
effortless.
Add some information because in 2024 we were struggling with this whole coordination between teams, and it's not like we were seeing this. Everyone was seeing this. The teams were seeing this. So we were trying to fix this. We performed many dozen of interviews, gathering feedback from our people, from our teams. They wanted the change, and we wanted the change. So it was. I don't know if I can say, but it was quite easy for us because we didn't have to convince them. We just had to turn on the light and show them what is our idea of changing. What do we want to achieve? How do we want to work? Starting from the tempo was fast, I would say. We had 1 quarter to prepare, and we came and we went to this almost the whole department at once. So, nobody would want to make a step back at this point. So
for some reason, there are so enthusiastic people in the company. It's like I was surprised, like. So many great people are working there, and so that was actually the biggest part, and that made the whole change. It was discussion, education, involvement, and then co-creation. That's it. Thank you so much.
If you have any questions, we will be there for you. Thank you.